as you may be aware, Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy has done an in-depth interview with Gary Neville on the Overlap podcast discussing all things Spurs. Levy claimed his achievements at Tottenham will only be appreciated once he leaves the club. Let's have a listen.
I think it's one of those situations, when I'm not here, I'm sure I'll get the credit.
So you think you'll have to basically sort of... you think you'll have to exit?
I think it's one of these things that, you know, when you come here and you look at this wonderful building, and the fact that other clubs now are trying to copy what we're doing should be a sign that actually maybe we did something a bit bold and right.
And is this the greatest thing that you've ever done?
Yeah, and I'm not doing it again, I can assure you.
Daniel Levy talking to Gary Neville on the Overlap podcast. Let's bring in one of Daniel's biggest fans, the former Spurs defender Ramon Vega. Morning, Ramon.
Good morning. How are you today?
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the holidays period as well, guys.
Oh, thank you, mate. So, Ramon, we heard Daniel Levy there saying he's only going to get the credit once he's left the club. Will you give him credit when he leaves?
Well, listen, I think most of the chairmen who actually run a club to start with, they have certain accountability and responsibility to take on. And critics comes part of the football as an owner to start with. And having a 20 years plus running the club, so it's just bottom line, you have to see what is actually achieved. I think from an economic point of view, you have to give him credit that he has run the club well and potentially the club for the future in a very good stage financially. So that part we can't deny. We have to give him credit on this, you know. Now, on the football side point of view, finally has won last year with Ange the European League, where that's pretty much missing for the last 20 years. And that was not good enough, frankly saying. And that's one part needs to be, let's call it, have more emphasis in football investment than actually the overall investment within the football. So that part, I think, it was missing, and I think that part has to be criticised massively. And he knows that. I think he's not a stupid person to not acknowledge that side was not really managed well. The other side, yes. So the balance has to come back into the football side, and I do hope now he has now got the feeling of how to win the trophy, and that's one of the major things the fans want. Trophy is one of the most best things you can give to a club, and that has a legacy. And that one last year will have hopefully enormous legacy, but not just short term. I hope for the next 3 to 4 or 5 years they win more.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously he's made a difficult call in moving Ange on after winning that trophy, and now you have Thomas Frank in there, which I think is a great signing. I just think, Raymond, that, you know, when I speak to Spurs fans, it's the recruitment of players at the real highest level, like the Wirtz level that Liverpool have just taken. That's where I think a lot of criticism lies. Daniel Levy, that he hasn't done someone big and bold like that. Would you agree?
Absolutely, totally agree. Well, let's go a little bit step back in that point of view. I think what fans most frustration part of this year is, yes, they're really proud to have a lobby stadium there, but you're right. The whole recruitment philosophy within the club was a shamble. Simple as that. It's absolutely not acceptable for a club like that. Because if you look at it, what they invested in terms of the stadiums, training facilities, etc., the football side has not been given any attention whatsoever. Yes, the philosophy of young, talented players and then potentially selling it. Is it a good philosophy? Yes, it's an acceptable, responsible, sustainable philosophy, but a club like Tottenham has to go both in that as well. It has to be a balance of say, are we going to be very competitive? That means to have to have bold transfer, good quality transfer in terms of striker. At this point of view, we might most likely need to have a midfield with Maddison be injured. And this is one of the major issues we had last year. And poor Ange needed to handle, as you know as well, as from a manager point of view, if you have 80% of your squad is injured, no manager in the world, whatever manager the best of it is, you can't just handle all these competitions with all these injuries, but you still won a cup. So from that point of view, I think Ange was a fantastic manager, to be honest with you, handling all these not supporting transfer allocation to him to still win something. And I think they should learn from last year to now support this manager, where everybody's saying he's a great assignment because he's done very well in a smaller club. But now it's a different ball game. It's Tottenham. Expectations are high, and even higher now after last year they won a trophy. And I have to support him in a way that he is also has the material to win a trophy. And I think this is important now. And point of view, 5-7 years, absolutely shamble in recruitment side point of view.
Shambles in terms of recruitment. Let's move on again, away from Daniel Levy a little bit, Ramon. I just want to talk to you about Heung-min Son. Played his last game for the club over the weekend. Does he go down as a Spurs legend?
Oh, I think beyond the Spurs legend, I think you should actually have a statue in front of their stadium. If you already have a fancy stadium like that, I think he should be part of one of the legends at Spurs. Because let's be honest, he brings a culture not just on the pitch, quality, talent. Some of the Premier League even underestimated it in the beginning, because I saw him absolutely one of the top strikers within the Premier League. Only in the later stage they start to realise that suddenly this son is a very good quality player, but he was always like that. My most important part, what football actually forgets the most, is the humbleness, the kind of the sympathy he has to everybody and empathy everybody he gives to. That has been forgotten within the football industry. And that moral side point of view, where he brings into the old-fashioned way moral to keep loyal to a club, even now he finally won something there. I think it's a cultural point of view. I've been living now also in Middle East / Asia. The respect to the elderly, the respect to the next one is so higher than what we call it the Western world, or even in the UK or Europe in this kind. It's falling that part. And he actually really brings that and highlights massively the kind of the lack of respect to each other. And that's one Son, without a doubt, has brought to Spurs, even with all the terrible years we might have. But he was sticking there. He was still going through it. He had a smile in his face. There's no doubt this player should give a massive state in front of the main entrance of Tottenham, because he resembles what football is today.
Brilliant. Ramon, thank you very much indeed. Ramon Vega advocating a statue of Son at the Tottenham Hotspurs.
Do you remember in the old days when stadiums, they would have stands named after great players,
Yes.
didn't they? But of course now they have to sell that. So I'm guessing that, maybe Daniel Levy will name a cafe or something after him, or one of the bars.
Yeah.
Son Bar.
Yeah.
Shearer Bar we have at Newcastle. I think that's probably still there.
Yeah. Oh, a statue would fit quite nicely, though, wouldn't it? Into the outside the Tottenham Hotspurs.
He's been brilliant for Spurs. And actually, on my show on Sunday nights, Madge done a musical linker. It was brilliant. So if you go on, I think it's on the talkSPORT website. Go and listen to it. It's absolutely brilliant.
Arwen's a Liverpool fan, and he says, Jeff and Alan, I'd rather a centre-back and a defensive midfielder signed before we sign Alexander Isak. Interesting, different take on events at Anfield and St James's Park today, where we're hearing Alexander Isak is getting closer and closer to agreeing a move, and that Newcastle United will replace him with Benjamin Šeško.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.